Hi, my name is Linda Thompson and I'm 58 years old. I live in a quiet suburb in Ohio, and I'm just an average mom trying to do her best. But lately, things between my daughter and me have taken a turn I never expected. My daughter, Emily, is 27 years old. She's always been independent, maybe a little too much sometimes. We used to be close, but over the last few months, that closeness has turned into distance. And not just the physical kind. It all started with small arguments, about money, about her lifestyle, and honestly about me being what she called annoying. I never imagined she would say those words to me, especially over the phone. Emily was living with me after she lost her job during the pandemic. To help her out, I opened a bank account for her in my name to help her pay rent and other bills. I wanted to support her without making her feel like I was controlling her life. At first, it worked fine. She used the account for rent payments, groceries, and essentials. But gradually, I started noticing things I didn't like. She began to take money out for things that weren't necessary. Expensive dinners, clubbing, even some shopping sprees. I confronted her gently, hoping she would understand my concern. But instead, she got angry and called me annoying. And then she did something that broke my heart. She blocked my number. I felt lost and hurt. How could my own daughter cut me off like that? I tried calling from different numbers, sending emails, but nothing worked. It was like she wanted nothing to do with me. That's when I realized I had to take a step back. If she was blocking me, maybe I needed to show her that there are consequences to her actions. So, after a lot of thought, I decided to close the bank account she was using for her rent. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary. Little did I know, this would be the turning point of our relationship. After Emily blocked my number, I felt completely shut out. It was as if she had erased me from her life overnight. At first, I hoped it was just a phase. Maybe she was angry, and with time, things would get better. But days turned into weeks, and there was no sign of her reaching out. The silence was deafening. I tried to reach her through emails and even sent letters, but nothing got through. It was painful not knowing if she was okay, or if she was upset beyond repair. Meanwhile, I kept an eye on the bank account I had set up for her. I noticed unusual spending habits, a lot of charges that didn't seem related to rent or bills, expensive dinners, frequent rideshare trips, and some purchases from trendy stores. I didn't want to be the annoying mom, nagging her about money, but this was getting out of hand. One evening, after a long day at work, I sat down and wrote her a message. I explained how I felt, how blocked calls and messages made me feel abandoned and hurt. I told her I was willing to help, but she needed to be honest with me about her spending. No reply. That's when I made the difficult decision to close the bank account she was using to pay her rent. I wasn't doing this to punish her. I hoped it would make her think twice about how she was handling her life and finances. The moment I closed the account, my phone started ringing. Emily's number flashed on the screen. I was shocked. Finally, she was calling me back. But the conversation didn't go the way I expected. She was furious, accusing me of betrayal, and saying I was controlling her life. She told me she didn't need my help anymore, and that I was invading her privacy. I tried to stay calm and explain my side, but it felt like we were speaking two different languages. The rift seemed deeper than ever. That night, I lay awake wondering if I had done the right thing. Was blocking her from the bank account too harsh? Or was it the wake-up call she needed? Over the next few days, Emily's calls became more frequent, angry, demanding, and sometimes just silent tears on the other end of the line. She told me she was struggling to find another way to pay her rent, and accused me of abandoning her when she needed me most. I wanted to reach out, to hug her and tell her everything would be okay. But the wounds between us were raw. Respect was missing and boundaries were blurred. I realized that this wasn't just about money anymore. It was about respect. Respect for my effort, my support, and my position as her mother. Emily had grown up and wanted independence, which I respected. But independence doesn't mean cutting off your family, or being disrespectful. I decided to set some ground rules for how we would communicate moving forward. I told her I would always be there for her but expected honesty, respect, and some accountability. It wasn't easy. Emily was stubborn, and I admit I was hurt and frustrated too. But I knew if we didn't find a way to rebuild trust, we would drift further apart. I reached out to a family counselor to get some advice on how to handle this delicate situation. The counselor helped me see that while I wanted to protect her, I also needed to let her make mistakes, and sometimes face consequences. With guidance from the counselor, I approached Emily again, this time with more patience and openness. We talked about money, boundaries, and most importantly, feelings. I apologized for closing the bank account without more discussion, and told her I understood her frustration. Emily shared her side too, how she felt pressured and embarrassed asking for help, and how blocking my number was her way of pushing me away when she felt overwhelmed. It was a tough conversation, but a necessary one. Slowly, we started rebuilding trust, setting limits on how money would be managed, and agreeing on regular check-ins. Emily found a new job and started contributing to rent again, this time from her own account. I still helped when she was truly in trouble, but she began taking responsibility for her finances. We even started texting and calling more. The small things that had once felt normal, but suddenly meant so much. Looking back, I realize how complicated mother-daughter relationships can be, especially when it comes to money and independence. Blocking each other's numbers and closing bank accounts may sound extreme, but sometimes tough love is necessary. Emily and I learned that respect isn't given automatically. It's earned and maintained through communication and understanding. I'm proud of how far we've come, and while we still have our disagreements, the love between us is stronger than ever. To anyone watching this who is struggling with family conflicts, I want to say, don't give up. Sometimes you need to take a step back, set boundaries, and let the other person see the consequences of their actions. But always keep the door open for healing. Because at the end of the day, family is everything.